The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki.
Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. Coming at you. I'm live in St. Louis. Here with us is Noah, Brian, Sean O'Connor. How you guys doing today?
Great.
Didn't you see Sean a lot this weekend?
I did. I know how he's doing, unless things drastically changed yesterday. Sean is over his fear of flying.
Nice.
What?
Not
Chill
over
out.
it, but it's like it's getting a lot better.
Yeah, commercial flight. I love it. Give it to me.
Yeah. And
I just
are
have
you
to
on the
stop
chill
reading
pill?
the news. I love the chill pill. I'm not on it
I feel
right
like-
now.
But like, do you like you're using it a lot though, right? Like the little device that shocks your hand. We talked about it last week in case you missed it. It's like this little thing that Emily turned us on to that she got from Rosie O'Donnell's TikTok. That it's like you hold in your hand. It's a little key fob and it shocks your hand for 20 minutes, like bing, 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 and it like lessens your anxiety and it fucking works.
It really does. I've been using it nonstop. It is helping me in every interaction I have.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start bringing it on stage. I just want to try it once. What was I doing yesterday? I was practicing rapping, and memorizing this rap that I'm working on. And I was like really out of breath. Rap takes like so much breath control that even singing doesn't. Like it's just so exhausting. And you think that you know a rap because you're just mouthing the lyrics to it, but like you don't understand that you're not saying it and putting inflection. And it's so hard to do. And I don't know if on my birthday I'm going to be able to debut the rap song that I've been memorizing that I can, because it's way harder than I thought. But then I did the chill pill and I was able to do it.
I mean, isn't it the same song that you've been trying to memorize?
Oh yeah, did I talk about it? Yeah, Rap God. I like.
You've been talking. What do you mean? We've been talking about this for.
Well, I
maybe
talk about
mentioned
it in
1,000
everywhere.
times.
But okay, sorry. I forgot that I talked about it so much on here. You don't understand. Like, I don't know what I don't say on here and what I do say on here.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes
You know
I'm
what?
like, I shouldn't say it on there. I should just keep it to myself. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
the Nikki that is like smart probably wouldn't have talked about it on a podcast. So let's like be that person right now. I'm not harboring anything. I'm not like trying to keep secrets. I just feel like I shouldn't share everything, but I do. Anyway, so yeah, I was practicing Rap God yesterday and I'm getting really good,
Yeah.
but like I thought I was really good because I'm mouthing it on a treadmill and I can mouth it all, but that does not mean I'm saying it. And it is, I am literally like out of breath the entire time. Like it went from being, I thought, a B plus, like I'm ready to do this, to a D minus. Like I cannot say it.
Damn.
When given the chance to say it out loud, it is. So it's one thing to be able to mouth it. Good job. Okay, I memorized all the words and I can say them really fast, but I literally can't say them. I can't like make the
Is it
sound.
breath control, you think?
Yes.
Yeah. I think what you need to do is you have to get like prosthetics and do like undercover karaoke
Okay.
and just practice it a few times where it's not you doing it. Like you go up from like,
Yeah,
I'm
the masked rapper.
yeah, like I'm Sheila. Like they
That's
bring you
always
up
my
as
fake name. That's so weird. And like when I used to go to bars, I would, when a
No.
guy I didn't like, I would say my name was Sheila. That's so crazy that you picked that.
Whoa.
Yeah, is it because no one wants to fuck a Sheila?
I think
No offense.
Sheila is actually who I wanted to be. I love the name Sheila because I think it's like an 80s girl that's like a badass who you wouldn't fuck with, who you like.
Don't fuck with Sheila.
Yeah, you want to fuck Sheila, but Sheila's never gonna fuck you. Like she's too
No.
cool. She's got a lot going on. She has like a
She's got a studded leather jacket and she's smoking cigarettes outside the bar.
yeah. It's a little bit. It's giving what's her name from Saved by the Bell? Tori. No,
Tori.
yeah.
Yes.
Is it Tori?
So yeah, Tori. Tori was the leather jacket one. She's kind
Yeah.
of butch.
Gay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Definitely
Sheila
a gay woman.
Sheila's like lesbian coded a little bit in my
It
head.
is. Yes. And so she doesn't have time for men's business. So like when I would bust out,
No.
yeah, my name's Sheila, I feel like they would take the hint and leave me alone. But no, so yeah, it's breath control. And I even saved some kind of like, there was some story that came across my Instagram up talking about, it was like a vocal coach that was dissecting Kendrick Lamar's performance at the Super Bowl and saying that it was a masterclass in breath control. And I saved it. You know, when you see a video and you're like, I could learn something from this, and then you save it and you never go watch
Never
it.
look at it.
Everything I do. I did do a workout from TikTok or from Instagram Reels the other day. I did it and I
Whoa.
felt so much better. And I
Wow.
I actually saved a video and I went back and found it and did it. Pretty
Amazing.
cool. Yeah.
How long?
It was like it's like almost like it was like a yoga stretch thing for my posterior pelvic tilt. I finally found a thing that was like actually offering good stretches for it, and it definitely gave me that little slope that you get right before your butt. Like my back like was hurting because it was like the vertebrae were moving in a way that hasn't happened before. So, but it were really sexual exercises because you have to. It's just a bunch of like it's like twerking, slow twerking in different positions.
Right. Not something you'd want to do in a public gym.
But I did because I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. Like I can't. I don't want to do this alone. Like almost part of it is like I only work out if there's people around making me feel like they're like I'm accountable. So I'm not going to like miss out on that and do a worse workout because I feel like I'm turning people on. And I kind of did it in the corner, but it definitely was sexual.
So you're just like humping in the corner.
Yeah, definitely. Like
what is she doing over there?
Yeah, like just slowly cat-cowing in different positions.
Looking at your phone, humping in the corner.
That is what your cat does. So it is a perfect position for it.
Yes. It was but yeah, I was proud of myself for actually. Do you guys save stuff constantly that you don't watch, or like do you ever send a video? This is a thing I maybe wanted to do on stage, but sometimes I'll like see a video that's like a republic is threatened and here's why, and it's like gonna break it down, and I'm like, I don't feel like watching this, but I know it's important, so I'll send it to someone who like will watch it all. Did you ever do that?
Wait a second, I've gotten those before.
Yeah, I think I've done it to you. Like I'll watch 3/4 and I'm like, this is going where I think it's going, and like I've seen enough.
Is that why you sent me that 45-minute video about zebras?
No, I probably would watch animal stuff
video.
if zebras are threatened. I can't, but yeah, like it's just breaking down about how the SAID is being dismantled, so stuff like that I'm like, I don't need all the details, I'm never going to retain all this, but here's someone that would.
I have a dream of being. I sometimes think of the perfect counter argument for something, and
you
then
said
you
that in the same cadence.
It was really Martin Luther King-ish.
Yeah.
I know we're always comparing Brian to Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
This time we were right.
It was
but it's true. I mean, I had a dream today, and I thought of this perfect counter argument for that you could go on Fox News and say, and it's like undeniable, but I'll never get the opportunity to go on Fox News, and it's so rare that you have just like this perfect counter argument. And it's like,
really?
It's against the U.S. aid thing. So everyone's saying like, oh, to get rid of U.S. aid is like great for the country because you're lowering wasteful spending, and they were spending money on so much bullshit and all that. And I think that the Republican Party is vastly misunderstanding the purpose of U.S. aid or giving aid to other countries. And it's not that we're trying to be these like generous benefactors and be considered like these amazing saviors of the world. You know how the mafia gets its power? How does the mafia get its power? The mafia gets its power because there are people in a community who need money. And you are there because society or the government structures have let them down. And you are there to provide businesses, to provide people with resources. And once you provide them with those resources, then they owe you something. And then they're reliant on you for something. It's the same way Al-Qaeda. It's the same way ISIS gets their power. The first thing Al-Qaeda and ISIS does is they go into needy communities and they give them food. They give them protection. They give them medicine so that the goodwill
it's a way to control.
Exactly. So America isn't going into African countries and giving people aid
out of the goodness of their hearts.
No, they're doing it because it's preventing other countries or other organizations from doing the same thing and winning the propaganda war.
Yes.
It's for our own self-defense that we provide these services.
Yeah, because God forbid we just be kind, because that would be so stupid.
Exactly. Well, it would be a waste of money to just be kind. Now, the only time it is good to be kind is if you're vaccinating people across the world so you can avoid another pandemic.
Did you hear about the new disease that's in the Congo?
Oh my God.
That some toddlers ate a bat carcass, and now 54 people have died from this illness that kills you within hours, and it's really bad, and it's new. I was reading about it today, and it was on the Washington Post, and then I went to the comments just to see, just to make myself angry. And one of the comments was like, why are people eating bat carcasses? Stop it. And I just, I couldn't help myself. I go, oh yeah, I'm sure these toddlers in the Congo just turned down every other kind of food and chose the bat carcass. I'm sure that in lieu of going to Walmart and stocking up on, Dunkaroos, these kids in the Congo wanted to eat a bat carcass. They wasn't out of a need or a starvation kind of thing. Like, fucking morons. Who thinks anyone eats a bat willingly? I mean, I know there are wet markets where it's like delicacies, but like kids in the Congo aren't eating a bat carcass because it's fun.
Ozzy Osbourne fans.
Yeah.
I do like to think that one of them is a picky eater, and he's just like, no, I only want the bat carcass.
Can you imagine little kids being such picky eaters? I mean, I guess I had a joke about that in my special, but like, like my nephews won't eat anything. Like they only want McDonald's. Like they won't touch if something is touching something else or has like a little bit of a green sprig of something on it. It's like, no, like that is all learned behavior because kids are eating bat carcasses to survive. Like that. So would my nephews if they had to.
I think that's why we should never have moved away from that guilt trip we put on kids in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s of like, there are
kids
children starving. Yeah, kids in Africa, kids in China, they're starving. You need that. You need that to
that gives you an eating disorder that you always have to eat all the food on your plate. And then that, because I just watched a video about how parents need to stop saying the kids in Africa thing because it makes you feel guilt and it makes you eat when you're feeling guilty and associates those two feelings together. And then you end up overeating when you're feeling guilt in your own life. Something like that.
Like
it's
the best diet strategy is portion control. Like you can't just look at your plate. You don't have to finish every single thing on your plate, and that's the best way to lose weight is to recognize that.
Yeah, but how would you do that? I don't even understand like I cannot. I've said it literally a million times on this podcast, Rap God, that I cannot fathom leaving behind something on your plate that you were just eating and enjoying and being like, no, I'm good. Like, how slow do you have to eat that your body is like in a one serving, you're getting full from it? Like, that is a slow ass eater. Like, I have a friend that eats really slow and I've counted the chews for like one bite of food because I've been bored, and I just like can see what they're like, see them eating. And I've counted like 35 chews for a little bite of food. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, and I will eat with them just to see how long it takes me. And I'm like, it takes me less. I don't even know if I chew.
Maybe
I'm like
they have a poor gag reflex. Might be the gag reflex.
They're just a
really
slow, meticulous, measured, mindful person, and I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, because I have like a pretty like easy to trigger gag reflex, but I am a Hoover with food. And like I'm like certain I know exactly how I'm going to die is that I'm just going to choke at a restaurant. Like,
have you choked a lot on food because you're eating too fast?
I've like choked on like water because I'm like doing that too fast. Like,
yep, me too. Yeah,
like choking on water is easier than the food. The food. I've seen myself like just taking a swig of water and then like coughing it up.
Yeah,
like
the wrong pipe or whatever.
Harder to choke on food, I think.
It's not. I choke on food. Like I'll clear my throat like 3 times a week at least. Like it's
like you have that panic of you're gonna die.
I'm gonna die. Where I'm like, oh, wow. like I go, oh, like, and then it comes up, and then I'm like,
I haven't seen you do that, but maybe I'm not tuned in.
I think I'm better around people who aren't my family. Like,
I just want the food out of the way because it's like I just see it and I want it to be gone, so I don't have to deal with the pain of like, should I eat? Food is like a drug. I never feel comfortable around it. I want it gone so I don't have to deal with it anymore. Or or I just want the feeling it gives me. It's so delicious. Like,
don't you get joy while you're eating it?
No, I'm not like you sucking on a Kit Kat. I cannot. I just
big cat.
a big cat, second on a big cat. I don't understand like savoring. I tried this weekend. We got these really good sweets, like vegan sweets that they gave us in Boston and backstage. And I literally like, if you want to bring me stuff, guys, no one ever bring me. I just don't eat sugar. I don't enjoy cakes. I don't enjoy cookies. I don't care if they're vegan. I just don't like sugar. I'm not into it. But this weekend I was like, I'm going to just treat myself to a macaron. I've never had one of those
like
macaroon.
French?
Yeah, like they look like little hamburgers, but they're all one color.
Yeah, yeah. There's the French hamburger.
They are fucking amazing. No one,
Yeah.
people need to be talking more about these. I know they were probably big in like 2011 or something, but having one of those was enough for me. And I liked that it feels like meringue, almost like an empty, like there's like, it's like a foaminess to it that makes it feel like it's pumped with a lot of air. So you don't feel like you're eating this dense thing. But then I did have there was like a cheesecake in a jar. And I had just done 6 shows and I was like, I'm going to fucking treat myself. And that was so good. And I was able to just eat half of it and not eat the whole thing. Cause it was like, I was really proud of myself. I was like, am I a real woman? Like there are things I do sometimes where I'm like, I feel so cool. Like when I get a tall latte instead of a venti, when I just do things that are like, I'm just a normal lady that sips on a tall latte. That's all I would want. The only reason I would get a tall is because I've had 3 ventis in the last hour. It would never occur to me when people just get 1 coffee a day and it's a small. Sean, you're a venti guy too.
I'm a venti. I need more. I just need, like, I don't know what it is, but I even find like when I'm doing like Uber Eats, I kind of always over order. Like I know
that's whenever I give someone a Uber Eats order and I'm like, send it to the group. I always tell people, get as much as you want, because if I was asked to add to an Uber Eats order that someone else was paying for, I'd be like, I guess I can only get an entree instead of 2 entrees and a salad and a soup. Like I'm like, I have a scarcity thing where it's like it's not going to be enough.
Exactly. Whenever I'm ordering, I'm like, oh man, like I know me, and then like then I'm like wasteful.
I don't know me. I know.
Yeah,
me too.
I have no idea who I am. It's my biggest problem.
Macarons are great. Did you?
Yeah.
And also macarons are most of the time gluten free. In case you are a celiac person, that's one of the rare desserts that's like not an ice cream or something that is gluten free.
No, you
Almond
don't like
flour.
desserts, right? You don't like sweets.
Me? Or
No,
No, me. I'm not really a sugar person, but I have been, and my eating habits have definitely changed as a parent because I have
What
no
does that
time
mean?
to eat. So like just like the pacing
Oh,
of
right.
my food. I used to be a moderate eater, and now I just like shove everything into my gullet and just eat. And then I get occupied with the baby and stuff.
What's
So,
your go-to? Like, I need to eat fast and I don't have time. What do you have around?
I just like I'm so used to it because I've been doing it for so long that I just shovel everything into my mouth.
like
It's
what?
just-
Like if you right now were like had 15 minutes to eat something, like what would be in your kitchen right now that you would put in your mouth?
Probably like a Thai dish or some like pan Asian dish.
Would
or
you heat it
something.
up?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Hot.
And is it something that you like ordered before that's like leftovers, or is it something you made over the
Frozen?
weekend?
Like either just whatever's in the fridge just gets
So
put
it's
together
not
on
like
a plate.
it's not
You hit-
handfuls of chips. It's not a protein bar. Like I don't even understand how people
Oh,
don't live on protein bars.
Well, also when I'm nursing, I just have to just constantly be eating and drinking water. So yesterday I was sitting there just like eating an entire bag of chips.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting down some bags of chips on my own, and then I offer like people. Like last night, I brought Skinny Pop over to my parents' house, and my mom had like 2 handfuls, and so it made me feel like I didn't eat the whole bag.
Yeah.
That's really
Outsourced
important.
a little bit, a couple of handfuls.
Yeah,
I'm so disappointed. Like as a kid, I felt like the little bag was always perfect. And now I'm like, I just want to crush. When it's a plate of food or if it's a bag of food, I just want to like take it down. So it's not there tomorrow.
Oh my God. I like wistfully think about before I had an eating disorder when I would like get a sacked lunch and my mom would just pack like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a handful of chips in a plastic bag, a Capri Sun, an apple, and like maybe like a Reese's cup or like a little Halloween candy. And that was enough. There was no part of me that was like, this is it. There was no like, what else am I going to get later on? How am I going to finagle more food? It was just like, that was it. And I wasn't thinking about it all day because I had already eaten a breakfast in the morning that was adequate and kept me full. Like this life we live in where it's just like, you try to starve yourself and wait to the next meal so that you can be really hungry. Then you overeat and then you feel bad about overeating. So you try to wait as long as you can before you eat next time. And then again, you're so hungry and then you overeat. And it's like this, I wish I've broken the cycle before, but I tend to like stay in that kind of like overeat, feel sick, feel bad, wait until I'm so hungry to eat again kind of thing. I never starve myself. Like if I'm hungry, I will always eat, but I will sometimes I can't even recognize what hunger is, I don't think, because I'm still so fucked up from feeling like, well, I can't possibly eat now. My brain won't even let me because I know just 10 hours ago I ate enough food for a whole day. So that's not gonna, I can't wake up and go like, oh, I'm gonna, eat again. It's just, it's a mind fuck.
Yeah, no, it sounds very difficult. I can't even really like. Yeah, it's like
I don't think you relate. Like Brian, you don't have a relationship with food like that. Like when people don't have food noise going on, what is your life like? Honestly, I need to know. You need to be accomplishing more in your life. Not just Brian. Everyone that doesn't have food noise. If I'm able to get this much done with the rattling around of like, what are you going to eat next? How much did you just eat? Are you sure that everyone is going to eat with you when you eat next? Because if people don't eat, then you feel bad about eating too much, but they just ate. So they're not going to be as hungry as you when you all sit down to eat. So then when you sit down to eat, you're going to be judging that you're eating too much around them and they're not going to be like, that is what's going on up here all of the time.
Yeah,
all of the time. Chris can't stand it. It's hell to be married to it, or we're not married, but be partnered with it.
But I will
that wasn't a slip, by the way. Don't go. Nikki revealed she was married. I keep saying husband
the headlines
and stuff.
Now.
Yeah. We're not married. We're not. But I always. It's just easier to. It just sounds. Communicates commitment that we're at that boyfriend doesn't. Anyway, go on.
But I'm always jealous of when we eat with Brian, because Brian, you'll just like order a soup and be okay, and then I'm like,
it's
like
yes, I know.
Yeah, no, I'm like,
and he can like in between, he'll be about to eat like a spoonful of soup, and then he'll put it down and go, actually, I was thinking that maybe if we approach that one bit differently, and the soup will be on the spoon, not in his mouth, like hovering in the air, getting cold, getting like unpleasing, and then the soup will become so cold from him talking because he is like prioritizing communication over this dumb soup, which he should be doing. That the soup will become inedible, and then he'll go, "I don't really want this right now," and he'll just set it down. I can't even comprehend that.
And I'm jealous of that. I'm like,
I could have the nuclear codes and like be able to prevent something, and I would still say it through soup in my mouth. Like, I think you're either one or the other. But I will say, I'm not saying Brian's food situation is just so enviable, because a lot of it is wrapped around it's going to make your teeth hurt.
Oh, and
yeah, you have a lot of energy going into that.
Noise.
Yes, you have different noise. I don't need to make it seem like everyone does have noise. Yes,
one thing I do.
Your own noise.
One thing I do that I'd like to stop doing is if I'm telling a story or something, I will frequently like put food in my mouth, and then I'll just have the food in my mouth.
No, you don't.
Time.
Not to me. You do not. I've noticed that you will, because I pay attention. You will put it down. I've never seen you talk through food.
Wow. Well, I
maybe I just think it's your dipping or something.
Yeah, no, because I think I've gotten very good at it. I've gotten very good at having like a squirrel's amount of storage of food in my cheek while I'm telling a story.
And his beard is more grown out, so it's really hard to tell.
Oh yeah, you can.
What
really
you don't realize is that I'm slowly distributing morsels into my throat while you don't see it.
There are some good morsels that you can get in your gums. My favorite is when you eat animal crackers. The buildup of animal crackers in your gums is as delicious as the original animal cracker. And that's one that I will speak to. When we get back, I want to talk to you about a Timothée Chalamet thing that I wanted to get everyone's feedback on, because I read it last night and I go, oh, this will be perfect for the podcast. So stay tuned for that right after this. Okay, so I guess Timothée Chalamet just made history. This is BuzzFeed. Instagram. Timothée Chalamet just made history as the youngest person ever to win Best Actor in a leading role at the SAG Awards. And his acceptance speech proves that in an industry built on the art of pretending, Timmy is as real as it gets. Okay, so I originally read the headline on BuzzFeed is Timothée Chalamet did something many actors are afraid to do in his unconventional acceptance speech at the SAG Awards, and people are seriously impressed. Oh, what's it going to be? Go to the next slide. The next slide is a quote from his speech, and then it says, holy shit, Timmy, what a speech, Oscar next. Okay, so this is the speech, and I want us all to weigh in on it, okay, because it is different than most speeches. And this is Timothée Chalamet.
Shout out North America. Shout out Earth.
Yeah. Shout out heavy awards that aren't as good as an Oscar or a Golden
Wait a
Globe.
second. Quick shout out WGA awards because Nikki Glaser won a WGA award for Someday You'll Die. Congratulations,
Guild.
Nikki.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's my first award.
That's an incredible award.
Yeah, I'm really
it's such a great
by
award because you're being acknowledged by
writers.
fellow writers.
Yeah.
Yes.
For your writing.
Really, I mean, it truly is the award out of all of the ones that I was nominated for: Grammy, Emmy, Critics' Choice, that Golden Globe. That really, it would have been nice to win all those, but as someone who voted in some of those, you just pick like your friends, or you pick like, it's like a popularity contest. It's not, no one watches everything, but writers are not nice. But here's the thing. I determined that I either won because they respected my writing, or they hate everyone else in the category so much, because I know a lot of times I will vote based on, I just don't want that person to win, and I will pick anyone else that has been nice to me before, or like, so it isn't always about the merit of it.
No.
And that's okay. I think we really need to acknowledge this is not the Olympics. You're not being, and even the Olympics, I would say, is not completely fair. You can't completely objectively judge something without putting your own personal.
There were a couple of questionable judgments in the gymnastics category last Olympics. But
I will say, not to poo-poo what you just said, but it is possible. But to poo-poo away, a large portion of the WGA members are drama writers who truly actually love comedy and like have none of the hang-ups that like the comedy writers do, and like
none of the jealousies or putting people like.
Yeah, like they're just like true fans. Like, and I only know this because I've been around them, and they suck. Like they like genuinely love things. Like, and I can't comprehend how you do that. No,
it meant so much to me. It really did. Like, that was like, whoa. And I will say that Robbie Pra of Netflix did text me the day before the awards and was like, but hey, buddy, I hope you win. Just to let you know, Netflix couldn't submit, so you have a better chance. I was like, fuck you, Robbie.
Wow.
He's always trolling me, but also really supportive. But he was like, in other words, he was like, would have gone to Chappelle had we been able to, had we submitted. But
they couldn't submit. Why? Because it's.
I think they choose not to.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't impress anyone. They can't put it on a billboard.
Yeah.
But I will put it on my mantle.
They're trying to abolish guilds.
Okay, this is what Timothée said when he accepted his SAG award. I know we're in a subjective business, but the truth is, I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats. I'm inspired by the greats. I'm inspired by the greats here tonight. I'm as inspired by Daniel Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando, and Viola Davis as I am by Michael Jordan, Michael Phelps, and I want to be up there. So I'm deeply grateful. This doesn't signify that, but it's a little more fuel. It's a little more ammo to keep going. Thank you so much. Okay, so people are saying that it's arrogant. You know, like the naysayers are saying it's arrogant. It's he threw the SAG award under the bus, which I would argue, no, he did not. He was just saying, like, I'm not there yet. This doesn't mean that winning this doesn't mean that I've risen to that level, but it's a little more fuel on the, how did he say it?
Right. And also, let's just be honest here. I mean, SAG award is a level below an Oscar. I mean, there is a way to go. Can people stop being ridiculous about the truth?
Yes. But some of the comments are, did the greats ever talk like this? I'm sorry. So 85% of the SAG members who aren't famous aren't in pursuit of greatness and aren't working hard enough. Oh. And then someone said, he's a narcissist. So funny how when Anne Hathaway was proud of her work in her speech, she got the whole opposite reaction. I do think that that's an interesting thing to note. And then someone, people people, the ego is huge. Mind blown emoji. What do you guys make of it? Because before I go off on it.
Fuck you, fuck the internet, fuck all those people. Timothy's
well, you're
perfect.
a Timothée Chalamet apologist.
Like, you were gonna
this is not
him
fair.
He was like,
you know what this reminds me of, honestly?
Has some good points. Like,
you're on the board at Club Chalamet. We know.
It reminds me of a similar person striving for greatness who made a similar type comment, and I believe it was an amazing comment to make, and it just showed how confident they were. And that was when Nikki Glaser was asked, what do you think about being selected as being the host of the Golden Globes? And you said, I think they made the right choice.
Yeah.
I think they made a smart choice. It's just believing in yourself and being confident and manifesting and setting.
And I don't always feel that way. Let me be honest. Like that would be insane if I always was like, yeah, me taking this Pilates class, it was a right choice for this place to, give me a free week trial. Like I know when I suck, but that was just, I just knew that I was going to take it seriously.
That was your confidence. That was Babe Ruth pointing the bat over the wall saying, I'm going to hit a home run. Or is that Hank Aaron? Sean?
That was Babe Ruth. Yeah.
That was Babe Ruth.
And he pointed at.
Do you know the Babe Ruth thing, Nikki?
I recall it. Like I can see it in my mind of him like calling the shot.
Yeah, he calls the shot and he says, I'm going to hit a home run, essentially. And if he doesn't hit a home run, man, that's embarrassing.
But think of all the times you don't when you call it. Like it happens a lot.
Not him, though. Not
we remember the times it does go well. I think it's a type of bias, but I don't forget the name.
I think this rules. I think what Timothée did rules. And I don't even think this is like a new thing. I feel like Marlon Brando was like, so up his ass and calling himself like the greatest actor that ever lived in like the late 50s and early 60s, and like to the point where he was like holding out for money and doing all that shit. And then Al Pacino, when he was nominated for an Oscars, he showed up on so many painkillers he couldn't do this, but he definitely believed it. Like but I feel like there's a Gen Z type of thing where he like kind of grew up with rap and like kind of like braggadocio. And I think this is just like a new level of
I thought it was humility. Like he was showing humility in that a lot. I didn't really see it as bragging.
Exactly.
No, I think it fucking rules.
Braggadocio is also my favorite rapper, but I think that isn't it most vulnerable? Isn't it more vulnerable to say, I want to be one of the greats? Isn't it vulnerable to say, here is my goal, now watch me try to achieve it, rather than pretend like you don't want to be one of the greats?
Well, I really don't like the argument of like, so why even say it? Like, don't we just assume you want to be great? No. Not everyone who's famous or who works in comedy or acting or sports really goes to become, is like trying to achieve greatness. They all might say they are, but they are leaving potential behind because they're not doing everything they can to be great. We know the people that do, the Kobe's, the Tom Brady's, the Daniel Day-Lewis's, the Jeremy Strong's, like, what you can do to be great and people don't do it. So you're not trying to be great. It's you're just showing up and you're getting by, and you can get by. Trust me, I've gotten by a lot without trying to be great. For so many, it's just the money that like is what they're doing that motivates you. Yeah.
Like Jeremy Strong, if he wasn't trying to be great, he would be like, I don't know, the Incredible Hulk or some shit. Yeah. And like he's not. Like he's
he does look like he could be cast.
There's other motivations, but people just assume that because someone's in the spotlight, they're always trying their best and they're always striving to be one of the best. And it's just not true. I as someone who has been able for many years to coast by on just doing, knowing what I could do. And I still do that. There are still jobs where I would just go, I could nail this. And I know exactly what I could do to nail it. I don't have the energy for it. So I'm going to be good, but I'm not going to be great. And you make that decision every day with every project you do. So I think it is notable to say, I want to be the greatest, and to call your shot. And it might even actually inspire him to do it because he's like, I just said it on this kind of platform. I can't not show up to my acting class tomorrow. I can't stay out late drinking tonight. And like, thing. I think that really helps. Like I wrote something to Sean yesterday about a thing I'm coming up doing, and I deleted it immediately because I was like, I don't want evidence that I ever said this, but this is what I want to achieve in doing this. It's like maybe a petty achievement because it's like I want to be the best at whatever, but it struck me after I said it as being like almost like petty. It struck me as being petty and a little bit overly competitive when it really doesn't need to be that thing. But for me to achieve greatness, I need to be competitive. I have to create a fake race in my head that's maybe no one else is paying attention to.
Asian.
And then I can yes.
Well,
Blasian.
But people are paying attention to everything because, like,
everything's a competition.
Everyone is always trying to be the greatest of all
Tell
time.
me a comedy show that you don't walk away from and you see multiple comedians and you don't talk to your friends on the way home about who was the best. Tell me that. Tell me anytime you go anywhere and you see multiple different acts performing different things, and one could be doing a musical number, one could be doing a comedy number, one could be doing a dance number. You don't go, what was your favorite dance number? What was your favorite comedy? You pit them against themselves, even though they're all different things happening at different parts of the show. It is a competition. And for
whenever
me,
I see an
that's how I
improv
get
show,
great.
I don't do that whenever I see an improv show because they're all equally bad.
Yeah. But I would think at an improv show, you would definitely go, like, on the way home, if I ever went to go see one, I would definitely be like, that one girl was the best. That guy. Like, we love to rank things.
Yes. By the way, just quickly, shout out to Magnet Theater, which is this improv theater in New York City. Have you ever performed there, Sean? The Magnet Theater in New York?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I've performed at the Magnet Theater.
Where is it? I think I've probably done it too.
It's on 28th or 29th Street between 7th and 8th Avenue. And it was...
that I have not.
It survived in its form. It somehow has had the staying power that the UCB and even... different forms of the Pit, the other two big improv theaters in New York City, did not have, and it was because of like the strong community and because they never had any desire to grow beyond being a strong community. But they are having.
They didn't strive for greatness.
They didn't strive exactly. The Magnet, I think, famously was like, we're not striving for greatness. We're not getting involved in the muck of the industry. We just want people to come here and have a good time and make friends.
It was friends, community, and like the art of improv. Like it was all just in the pursuit of like being like having fun with improv. Like UCB was like, I need to be in a T-Mobile commercial.
Right.
Or I'm going to kill myself.
And because of that, the Magnet Theater survived through COVID, where the UCB didn't. The UCB shut down because
it was based on money.
Yeah, and for the Magnet, it was like the community was like, there's no way we're going to let this die because then we won't have anyone where to hang out with our friends. Anyway, the Magnet Theater is having their 20-year anniversary next month, and I just want to shout out to the Magnet. Since we were just talking about improv quickly, and I shit on it, I just want to shout out to them because they gave me like the most stage time in New York City out of any venue in the entire city for the time I was there.
That's nice.
Congratulations,
I'm glad you did that.
The Magnet.
Congratulations. 20 years. You never even think you're going to be around for 20 years. Like whenever a business is like established 2022, I'm like, get that off of there. No one cares what you were established in 20. But in 20 years, that's going to seem like something. You know what I mean? You have to write an established... At some point, you got to, like, we were even talking about it this weekend about, like, taking photographs and, like, how I would, like, love if people had photographs of me in the comedy community back in 2007, 2008, like, when I first started. But at the time, you're just like, I don't want people taking pictures all the time. Like, I don't need all this shit. But, like, now I'm like, oh, my God. Like, we never foresee nostalgia. At least I don't. I don't anticipate it. Like, I'm trying to by keeping some things. Like, this weekend, someone made me a dress that has Tom Brady's face on it. And I was like, we can just like give it to someone. And then someone was like, well, what if the woman that made it for you finds out you just gave it away? I'm like, I hope she's not hurt because why would I wear that again? But like, okay, let me just keep it because maybe someday that'll mean something to me. And of course it will. It'll be like, oh my God, that was my first time like selling out all these big shows. That was like the year that my life broke open. And, and but I'm not having a daughter, and I doubt like Poppy will give a fuck about that dress. But maybe it'll go to a museum someday if I get shot by my assistant or something.
Or maybe you'll be buried in it.
Yeah, okay. If I fit in it when I'm that age, that would be great. Bury me in that dress 100%. Have the in memoriam be the popular picture, and yeah, I just don't see myself being like in a museum unless I die tragically because in like some kind of Selena way. So that's why I said shot by my assistant.
Gen Z, yeah.
I have to be like you have to die tragically to be like an icon, I think.
To be an icon?
Yeah, like I'm sorry, James Dean, like a car accident, like Sam Kinison car accident, like Marilyn Monroe overdose young. Like no one cares when you're like pass away at 94. I get an alert that some woman named Buzzy Winthrop died, who was the biggest actress in 1933. It was nice, CNN, that you gave me that, but like, of course she's dead. She's 99. Like it's not interesting.
You're right. We always worship the people who died at their peak. That's
Someone
like like it's we never got to see Nirvana just start sucking.
Yeah.
So like Kurt Cobain gets to be like Kurt Cobain forever.
We never got to see what like Saddam Hussein was going to get up to in his later years.
Yeah, we should have given him a shot. Yeah, that's why we revere him so much now.
His comedians in cars getting coffee was going to be so funny.
I was actually reading on a SNL subreddit where like it's SNL fans dissecting the show. It's the subreddit Live from New York, if you're interested.
Yeah.
And they were talking. One guy was like, "I just don't get Belushi. Like, explain Belushi to me." And I was reading the comments, and they were like, "Actually, I hate him because he would tank any sketch that a woman wrote." I found out, which makes me immediately hate him. And I know that he's like a beloved icon, but I honestly have never really laughed at anything he did. Like, I think he was good in Animal House, but I don't really care about Cheeseburger or like him dressed as a bee or like, I haven't laughed. I haven't given it a chance really, but finding out he's a massive misogynist, which everyone was in the 70s. So I give him a little bit of a pass because of the time, but a lot of people said he is revered because his death was tragic.
Absolutely. And they all knew he was going to die. Speedball, cocaine, and heroin
Chateau
at the same time. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, like he was like, I don't get Belushi, like, and I like Animal House. I like the Blues Brothers movie, fine, but I don't understand him. And then I'm reading this book about Lorne Michaels, and like he was just a piece of shit the entire time, and like got fired so many times because he was like impossible to work with. Thought he was better than the show, and then you watch his sketches, and it's like cheeseburger, it's Samurai Guy, like it's literally some of the worst shit ever put on television.
Well, comedy does not hold up, obviously.
Sure.
After
Animal House, though, that's what he's really. That's why he's got the poster in everyone's dorm room because of that
that's pretty
movie.
iconic. He's just a funny looking guy too. But we were in Boston over the weekend, and we did a thing on Saturday that we can't talk about.
Secret. It's a secret kind of society.
We got invited to a secret society meeting to be honored by this prestigious,
like Bohemian Grove or Skull and Bones.
Yeah, it's kind of like a less funny Skull and Bones.
Oh my god.
No, let me just say, if any of those people are listening, we can't talk about what it was, but I had an amazing time on the last half of that experience. Like it was actually, the whole thing was really entertaining and kind of like, it's funny to talk about with only the people that experienced it with me because I can't talk about it publicly. But when you have like an annoying experience, it's fun to like, talk about it later. I will say afterwards, going to lunch and talking to everyone and hanging out when all the BS was over with, it was one of the most rewarding going to lunch and talking to people. That was one of the most favorite things I've ever done. I could have done it. We were talking about later. I could have done it all day. It made me realize I want to go talk to young people that are smart and tenacious and just interesting and funny and like just so cool. It was so fun. I had the best time. Before that, not that fun.
It was not that fun. And it was like, oh no, like it truly felt like you got into an Uber and then you realized slowly that the driver was fucked up. Like he was
and
like
that
drunk.
the locks were sawed off.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God.
he was blasting
then-
his own music and making you sing along. Yeah. And you didn't know the words.
But then once you got home and you kind of realized that this person was just pretending, and they were
When the
they were
act dropped. So we went through a thing with like in this secret kind of world. You have to go through this like kind of a little bit of an
There's no
initiation
animal
process.
sacrifice involved, right?
No, I was waiting for that.
No,
I
it
would
was
have
just
loved to
kids.
sacrifice some of the people involved, but
They were animals.
no, the people listening know that this sucks. Like they are
Yeah.
smart enough to know that this whole thing sucks, but the reason that it
I hope
sucks
they're
is because
smart.
they are so smart, and they
must
all had
be.
this kind of air about it, like, I'm sorry we have to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, they were really, their hearts weren't in it, and you could feel it right away.
Right
and then when
away.
you got to talking to them, they were like actually very funny and like quick.
Oh my God, we couldn't stop talking about how much we loved all of you, and we wish we could say publicly who you are, but we can't because of this dumb rule, because of your dumb, like the dumb secret special society thing about it that, and this is what I learned. When something is, when you're prohibited from talking about something afterwards and you make it so no one can give you notes on it, no one can dissect it and maybe give you some critical help with it, constructive criticism, it stays the same. And it's over the years, especially something based in comedy, if it is something that is written and planned out in or like possibly late 1800s and maybe not updated since the 1940s, it doesn't work anymore.
It's like a
And
John Belushi sketch.
Secrecy, yes, it is.
kinda
That's what
is.
inspired this conversation. It's like I was living in the Canterbury Tales, which you just go, this doesn't work now comedically, but it is, and it's barely interesting too. No offense, like truly no offense, because if I were one of these people, I would have done the same exact thing. You're locked into a thing that you can't get out of, but it needs to be updated.
Yeah,
I have production notes. If you want to reach out, we will be happy to give you some to make a good experience so that the experience that we had at the tail end of it is as good as the rest of it. And I'm sorry for the listener being like, what are you talking about? But like, just imagine a group inviting you to like say, hey, what's up? And then you have to watch a play first that you're like a part of. It's like Sleep
Right.
No More, but but not good.
Yeah.
It's an interactive play. And then after the play, all the actors drop it, and then they're real people, and then it's the most fun you've ever had.
Yeah, it was so wild. And if you are wondering what we're talking about the DOGE committee.
Some of them will be working there.
The future
they
Doge
let us-
Committee of America.
They let us delete a few social security numbers, and it was like so rewarding.
So fun.
But before that, you had to watch the play, and that's why it sucked.
Yeah.
It reminded me of this thing I read about did I talk about, I know I talked to both of you about this separately, but did I talk about why there aren't plane crashes because of on this podcast?
No.
What I learned, I
don't
read
know.
a really long article. Okay, I'm going to synthesize it when we get back, but it's actually as interesting, I promise you. And it has to do with this thing of like, you need open dialogue for things to get better and for things to run efficiently.
Yes.
And
This
I don't
is
think
one
I've
of
talked about it on the
articles
podcast.
that you read instead of outsourcing.
I
to
read the whole
somebody.
thing, and I did put it on my Instagram story because I was like, everyone needs to know this. It will give you
Yes.
peace of mind about flying and feeling safe and doing that, but
Well-
it will actually not make you feel good after if it gets taken over by the people that I think it's going to be taken over by. Because, okay, I'll tell you about that when we get back. Right when we get back. Okay, so pretty much the reason that there aren't plane crashes is because no one's ever blamed for it. Have I talked about this on air before?
I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
Air. We've
Okay.
talked
Not
about
air.
plane
So
crashes.
this is all going to be me kind of speaking, I don't know all the official words for it, but pretty much the mandate from the FAA and like everyone who regulates America, and I think this is global, handles plane crashes and regulates what they're able to do and where they're able to go and navigation and all that stuff. If there is an error, if there's a plane crash, no one gets blamed. Let me say that again. There is never an investigation after an airplane mishap, a crash, where they try to figure out whose fault it is.
Mm-hmm.
All they try to do after a crash is to find out what happened, what led to this mistake that someone made, yes, they eventually go, okay, this person made this mistake, but they will never punish that person. That person will never lose their job. They will never be tried before a jury of their peers. They will never be fired. They will never be docked pay. They will never be put on leave ever, because it is, they all agree that if you work for the, if you work as a air traffic control person, if you work as a pilot,
FAA.
it is under the assumption that you are always doing the best job you can and that no one would ever not be, right? So if something happens, it's a mistake. You didn't mean to. We are humans. We will fault at some point. And just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you need to be fired. And because of this, and now this is the interesting part that I love, it's the psychological part. Because there is never any blame placed on anyone for anything that goes wrong, when something does go wrong, everyone tells the truth. Again, everyone tells the truth when they're asked about, like, how did this plane get hit? What happened? Why did you leave that plane on the tarmac and then signal for this other plane to land? That woman who made that mistake says, I was I couldn't, the camera on the, that is pointing towards the tarmac doesn't light that one section. That's where the plane was stalled. I couldn't see it. I fucked up. I knew it was there. I just forgot because then I got distracted by another phone call. I didn't sleep the past 14 hours because of this thing. She can be completely honest about what happened and actually explain that it was her fault. And she's never going to face any consequences for it. And people go, oh, that's wrong. Like, you should punish someone for fucking up. Well, what happens when you punish someone for fucking up is that they have reason to lie and cover up why it happened. And when people cover up why it happened and go, well, it was because, actually, I didn't tell that plane to wait there. They waited there themselves. And then that woman just gets to lie and say that because all the people on the plane are dead. So we can never really check if that plane actually did stay there by themselves or not. If she's lying about that, we'll never know. But if she tells the truth and says, yeah, I told them to wait there and I fucked up and then I signaled the other plane to land and it crashed into it, then we know, what can we do to never make that happen again? As opposed to covering it up. So when Trump gets in there with all of his people who all they do is punish and place blame and say who did what, when, whoever, it's not just Trump, like when it becomes regulated by people who like to place blame and punish, then that lies start. And when lies start, problems don't get solved and problems get repeated and things get covered up. And that to me circles back around to what we went through, because if there was an opportunity to say freely what you don't like and what is wrong without feeling like you're going to be punished for revealing some secret, things can be better and an enjoyable experience. And maybe, you can get a ton more comedians that you want to come and do it because they're all telling each other how great it was.
Yeah. And also think about the resources being it's very backwards looking to try to assign blame. And it takes a lot of resources to do an investigation to figure out and then also to defend against the person who is
and they get lawyers culpable. And what do lawyers do? They lie. And so when lies conflate. Cover up the truth, and when the truth is covered up, you can't remedy it. You can't fix the bolt that wasn't screwed in tight enough. Where that guy goes, oh, I didn't screw it in tight enough because I wanted to get to lunch. Okay, well then maybe we need to look at these people are not eating enough. We're having lunch breaks a little too late, and so the bolts aren't getting screwed. So then they move the lunches, so now the bolts are getting screwed. Like, things can be remedied.
It shifts the focus from looking back at something that happened and trying to assign blame and to looking forward and saying, how can we make sure that this is never going to happen again in the future?
Not to mention, when you're punishing that person who fucked up in that way, then they have left their their perch, and now you're filling that hole that you just had with somebody who's maybe underqualified, who is more willing to lie, and then
Or who didn't just learn the most valuable lesson that they'll never make that same mistake again.
They'll never do it again. And it's like, it's the same thing as like, we don't punish fathers who accidentally leave their, I think sometimes they're tried, but most of the time if there is a child dies because of a parent's negligence, they're not thrown in jail. It's like, it's not, we know that no one would actually do that on purpose. I know that some parents do that, but Casey Anthony. It would be if we had someone who purposely flew a plane into another plane, that would open up a whole thing of now everyone's looking at each other like, who's here to do the wrong thing?
Right. Ooh, that's
they just need to look at the hiring practices. That's someone who fucked up in the hiring practices, and that person doesn't need to be punished for hiring a psychopath. They need to have let's give maybe a different kind of psychopath test.
Yes. Like learning the lesson is so important. Like, did you ever notice that like OJ Simpson never killed again? Like
that we know of.
That we know of. No, it's true.
I think
That's
he
why
learned his lesson. I think
so too.
But it's really like
He did rob after that.
Yeah, he did. And
he
and
did steal
threatened.
his own shirts, as Norm said.
What was Norm's joke about that?
I just don't think you should go to jail for 25 consecutive life sentences for stealing your own shirt.
Oh yeah, because it was about his own merchandise that he was trying to get back. That like subsequent charge. Norm had so many great OJ jokes, but yeah, it's like it's the whole thing about like, you know, if someone murders someone, it's like not really their fault. They were just born with a murderer's brain, and they were like abused as a kid that made them a psychopath, and all the things that it's not really their fault. The situation in the brain that they were born with. Final thought. I'm getting into No Free Will, Sam Harris, but the reason we punish them and we lock them away is to protect people from them, right? So that like an air traffic controller who makes a mistake, if they did it on purpose, if it was determined, I'm guessing that they would go away. But I don't. What I'm saying is like they're not investigated under the assumption that they are going to be put in jail or that they did it on purpose. Whereas, you know, when we try people, we go, what the fuck? You did this. You meant to do this. You wanted to do this. And then we throw you in jail. But it sets an example for other people that deters people from murdering. Now, you know, someone who accidentally makes a mistake as an air traffic control person, them going to prison for life for making a mistake, I don't think is going to deter other people from making that mistake. I think it's already ingrained in people that they don't want plane crashes, right? Like, so the reason we punish murderers is to set an example and to protect people. So it's it's just interesting that like, I just love that somehow this, you know, aviation, this like really highly, with such a high margin of like accidents and like, it's crazy. There are planes flying in the air. They really don't have that many accidents compared to any other thing. Like it's extremely safe, extremely safe. And it's because of this. It was this really great article. If you want to read it. It says what I said much more eloquently.
Infowars.com if you want to look it up.
Just literally DM me and I'll find it for you because I can't remember what to Google.
Can I ask you a question about your weekend? I have so many bullet points here. So you were in Fort Lauderdale and something happened at dinner with the wait staff?
Oh.
Though they came and they gave the food, right?
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was insane. No, that was like one of the most delicious meals in a really long time. What happened? Did I do something funny or say something?
They just like they were so attentive. They were very attentive, and the meal was incredible. And like it was the best hummus I've ever had. And I didn't know
truffle
that
hummus.
you could elevate hummus to this level, but it takes like 72 hours of.
It took.
Oh my God.
I was gonna kill you, Sean. Did you see the look I shot you when you asked? Now, why would the hummus take 72 hours? Because he was describing each dish, and like, I'm sorry, this is gonna sound rude. I don't care about how something's made or the ingredients or what region of Italy the cooking is based on. Like, when I'm hungry, I don't want to sit and look at it while you describe to me.
While it gets cold.
The faro, where the faro is from.
As they serve it, they start talking about icy.
But you can't start eating yet. You have to like wait and while they're done with their PowerPoint presentation. And I'm not trying to be rude. This is going to be diarrhea in 3 hours. Like, I don't care. I'm sure there are people that do care about what region of Florence that this type of thing, this dish is inspired by the cooking from that area. And I guess it is interesting. But when I'm like post show and like want to just eat and I'm kind of hungry, I don't really care. I don't care.
You just want to scarf it down.
Yeah, it's also insane too because they kept the restaurant open for us, which is so kind and so nice.
Wow.
But to do this spiel, and I mean, like they kept checking to make sure after every bite if it was to our liking, it was very flagrant. And I realize now I should not have been a little sarcastic.
You were being
boy.
polite.
Yeah.
Oh, you were being sarcastic.
You were being,
oh my God.
you were being a little bitch. Oh my God, mean girl.
It's like when my mom, we were checking into a hotel once and I was just like, they were telling us about the gym and what time the coffee bar is open and what time there are appetizers and then what time, just telling us. And then, there's actually construction going on the second floor, but that won't affect you because it only begins on Monday and you guys check out on Monday. And my mom goes, so what's the construction for? And I just look over at her like, are you? And they haven't given us the cards yet. Like they're waiting to present all of this until they give us the cards. Why would you ever? I gave her the biggest tongue lashing in the elevator. It wasn't like I was being tongue in cheek about it, but I'm just like, why would you ever care? Why did you need to know that? Like, I think sometimes people just like want to keep things
when
going.
you're on vacation, you just want to know things that you don't normally want to know.
About construction that you're not going to encounter at a place that you don't
ever
even
go on
like.
a vacation, you're walking around a city and you're like, I wonder what that water is for. I wonder what that statue means.
No,
You go
I guess
read
I
the plaque.
need to be more curious. This is my problem.
I think something just clicked in my brain because like I hit a vape and when he said 72-hour hummus, I was like,
no, it
you
is
have
funny
to-
because it's like, what the fuck are you doing for? But they are fermented for that long, I think.
Yeah.
And then
But
I was waiting for him to leave so I could say 72 hours for the hummus, 73 hours to get the bread that you just asked for 5 minutes ago. Like literally, we were done with pita, but we had all this hummus in front of us, and then we go, we love the hummus. He goes, that actually takes 70. I go, can we get some more pita? We're like, listen, we're in the middle of finishing hummus. Can you? Please don't think that I'm obnoxious for thinking that this is a weird thing, but we are out of pita. It's a table of people, and there's tons of hummus still left, right? And I go, or we're about to be out of pita.
Why do they
and I go,
do that
can we
to
get
us?
more pita?
Just give us
would
the
you
right
mind if we-
amount of pita.
Well, I think they were kind of out of it because they later told us that they only had one more kind of hummus vessel
it was
for
after
us.
closing time.
Yes,
so that
they
makes
was-
sense.
Okay.
yeah, I think
And they
they've
called it
run out of
vessels.
But still,
vessels. Like
every
Not-
time
not
you get...
bread.
Oh my God, vessels?
they
Yeah, he
brought
was
it
like,
out.
we don't have any more of that vessel, but we do have this hummus vessel, and it was a pretzel, but it was so good. Oh my God, this place was
I'd rather have a pretzel.
so delicious and so worth the monologues we had to hear before we ate everything. But I go, can we get some more bread? And he goes, oh God, isn't that hummus great? I go, we love it. We just want to eat more of it, because there's nothing to eat it with. And I didn't say that, but like, that's what I meant. And he goes, and then that's when Sean goes, and then he goes, yes, it actually takes 72 hours to cook. I'm like, why are you telling us about the hummus when we want more bread?
We've already eaten it.
We're looking at it. We're sold. We love it. And so that's when Sean asked about the 72 hours. And that's when I looked at Sean like, are you fucking kidding me right now that we have to now hear about the 72-hour process, which involves many steps, by the way, because it's 72 fucking hours. And that's when I said it takes 73 hours to order it. And, but that was the funny thing. But they were so nice and they really took care of us. And I really shout out to that restaurant. Like, you know who you are. If this is getting back to you, I'm sorry we made fun of you. That's not very nice. Because it was delicious food. And then, but then
5
even
stars.
like, even my promotions company this weekend in Boston was like, hey, Nikki, for Sunday night, we're having a sushi chef come in and make you sushi in between shows. And I was like, can I just tell you, that's not what I like. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the gift. But like, I go, am I paying for this? They're like, no, this is like a thing we thought you would really like. And I'm like, that's so sweet. I should just have shut up and said, thank you. But instead I said, for next time, like, I don't like warm sushi. Like, I don't like room temperature sushi, so I don't want it made on the spot ever because I like the rice to be cold. And also, I don't want to talk to a chef about what they did.
Exactly.
And
Right.
are we paying him enough that he doesn't feel the need to talk to me about it? And the truth was, yes, I was communicated. Yes, you would. Don't worry. It's like, it's going to be in between shows. By the way, I'm doing 6 shows, you guys. So don't think Nikki's such a bitch. She doesn't have time to talk to a chef. Of course I do. I like went in. I was like, thank you so much for being here. This looks delicious. And then he had to teach me what each thing was, which is like, I think I know what avocado and eggplant look like. But that's fine. So I'm kind of beating him to it. I go,
This
okay, so
is
that's
rice.
eggplant, and that's and then that's the edamame. And he's like, oh, you really know. And I'm like, well, I've been to a Japanese restaurant once before. And
What's
he's
this?
very
Is it a
sweet.
chopstick?
And he made me do a boomerang holding his food, so that was fine.
Oh,
But
okay.
but I was just like, every time you get a nice thing, you have to, like, there's an effort of talking to the person and making a thing about it. Like, when the chefs are in the back of the kitchen, I respect a chef's work so fucking much. I really do. It's an art, but I would never tell you guys how I write my jokes unless you asked. And unless people show curiosity, I would never talk to you about the process. I don't think it's interesting for people to hear about the process. I know that most, and you could probably pull up a million different clips of me talking about the process and go, actually, Nikki, you actually think we all do this?
Well, this joke
that's what most comedians
actually
are.
takes 72 hours to write. That's why.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, we talked about Popular and the making of that. I get it. There's, but listen, there's a fast forward button on this, by the way.
And
there
also,
isn't in real time when you're waiting for your hummus.
You talked about Popular on the Nikki Glaser podcast where people are trying to listen to you talk about this. It'd be different if you were listening to that chef's
rude.
cooking podcast and he's telling you about how you made the hummus.
Some people like to interact with people, and I do. Don't ever think, like, Sean, you're around me a lot, like on the road. I'm not an antisocial person. I'm not rude to people who stop by and say hi. Like, I actually like interactions, but
You give
I don't
lot
like
of yourself to people.
I just don't like empty things that I'm like, I didn't ask for this, and now I am being presented like it's a gift for me when I don't even want it.
Aaron and I were just talking about this about White Lotus and like when they're all like sitting there at the show with dinner, you just don't want the show at dinner. I don't want the show at dinner. I just want to eat dinner. I don't care if somebody's
And then the maitre
singing.
d' has to come up and tell you what a beautiful table of ladies you are. And this is our esteemed woman who curated the whole thing. And she used to be an actress, and they have to like fawn over her. Like, I am the friend in that group going like, okay, I want to get back to talking about like what our farts have been like recently. Like, I don't want to hear about this woman's like a relationship with her husband. It's not that I don't have a curiosity about people. I clearly do. I'm just coming off like such a bitch, I feel like. But
we've all been on both sides of that coin, because how many times have we done shows, especially early on, when we ambushed some restaurant or bar?
I was so apologetic. I was so apologetic on stage. I never had a good set.
Ever.
I'd be saying like, I'm sorry, this is like the worst thing ever.
I am the same way. I don't ever think anyone is ever like interested in meeting me. Like, there's been a couple times where I haven't introduced Chris when I meet like a celebrity, because I just feel bad that the celebrity doesn't even want to meet me. So I've explained to him, like, so I just assume they don't care about my partner either. They're like, he goes, you don't understand. People do want to meet you. They're interested in you. I'm like, it's no offense to you. I'm not like trying to be like, I'm so embarrassed of them meeting Chris. I'm embarrassed they even have to meet me. And like, I don't think people understand that I walk around, I generally with like what. That's why when people say they listen to the podcast, I always go, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Not because I don't think this is of value. I just have a thing running through me that nothing I say is that interesting, and I don't deserve all of this. And I wish more people had that, even though I do this, because I got offered money to do it. So I'm just trusting people who give me money to do this, that I am interesting. But other than that, and all the notes that besties write me and all the feedback I get, and the listeners, like, I respect you, I love you, and I trust that I am interesting, but it's hard for me to believe. And I think more people need to operate from that place, because I think you'd be right.
Except for Timothée Chalamet, who can say that he's going to be one of the greats.
Yeah, he has to say something in that moment, and it's way more interesting than "Thank you, Mom."
Thank you for my SAG award.
You know? All right, but seriously, thank you for listening to the podcast. I do love that you listen to me ramble, and I know I contradict myself a million times, and I know I'm a hypocrite so much. Can you tell I just went to couples therapy? Guys, thank you for listening. Fresh off a couples therapy episode, really introspective, really second-guessing myself after everything I say. Love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being here, Sean, Brian, Noah, and we'll see you tomorrow. Don't be good. Bye.